But the only eval I do want to talk about is the one that you highlighted, which is the GDP eval. That one was very impressive. Like you called that out to me. Do you want to?
Yeah, so they on the benchmarks, I'm looking through it kind of like, well, I'm already skeptical to benchmarks a little bit. Like, what does this really mean? But then you look at their improvement from 5.1 to 5.2 on GDP val. And we covered that. It was probably a couple months ago. And that
Mm,
was the real world work performed by people with like 15 years plus experience. And now they're
yeah.
saying that the agents 5.2 specifically is like 70% better than humans, I think it was.
Yeah. So just as a refresher, it's a set of specific tasks that are curated by experts in the field across 5 domains that represent about 5% of US GDP for these specific occupations. And the question or the task and the supporting materials are curated and vetted by experts in those individual areas: finance, real estate, um, biology, science, healthcare, a bunch of areas. And then the AI generated output is evaluated against a human level output that's basically blind tested against other experts from those fields. So they give like two responses: one's a human, one's an AI. The expert in that field doesn't know. And then they have to choose which one is better of those two, or if they're about the same. And when we covered it, Sonnet 4.5 was the best. And it was approaching parity in terms of like most of the time, its responses were either about the same or better. But the percentage of, always better still wasn't like that high. This is different for this model, right? Its always better percentage is basically almost at 50%, which means experts almost always choose the AI model response.
Right.
And then if you add on the about the same response, it goes all the way up to 70%. So only 30%, flip the other way, only 30% of the time is an expert in the field saying, no, that response is better and that comes from a human. That's pretty incredible. Like
That's
it
the
was
biggest
this.
jump I think I've ever seen on any benchmark. And they went from 38.8% wins or ties with 5.1 up to 70.9% wins
Yeah.
or ties on GDP val.
The thing that I love about this eval set is, or this test, right, is that because people will go, oh, that data's out there, so you could probably just train for it. That's true to an extent, but the test is actually, it doesn't actually really matter that that's the case. Not like the Amy or the Sweebench or whatever. It doesn't matter if the data's out there, because the actual test is like, this is something that someone does in their job every day, and a human is evaluating if this is better or worse, like based on a response. Because I don't. It's kind of like saying, um, I don't care how you got to this number. I don't care if you used a calculator. I don't care if you used an abacus, but you got to the number, right? If it was a math task, it's kind of like that kind of equivalent level determination to say, well, like the real business impact or the real world impact of AI in this context is huge.
Right.
Now,
Well, not to mention, most of the tasks have to deal with like file inputs or outputs.
yeah,
And when you're
yeah, they're
dealing
like
with,
I think one was like generate a production schedule for a film, for a TV shoot, and it was and like create enough like gap based on your understanding as a film producer of what needs to be done based on this brief and a bunch of documents. I'm like, that's pretty cool. That
yeah,
that was evaluated by, say, a TV producer or someone who works in film and television and says, yeah, that's better than what a human would generally do who has worked in the field.
right. But yeah,
um,
you're exactly right. Like it doesn't matter that if the data is out there or not because maybe they're larger data sets or multi-step